Today we will be looking at three-dimensional or solid shapes. So please copy down the SBI on the next page in your math notebook. The student will classify rectangular prisms, cones, cylinders, and pyramids. You can pause the video here to copy down the SBI. Classifying solids. A solid is a three-dimensional figure, or a figure that takes up space. The flat surfaces of a solid are called faces. The line where two faces come together is an edge, and the point where several edges come together is a vertex. A solid whose faces are polygons is called a polyhedron. If two faces are parallel and congruent, the polyhedron is a prism. The parallel faces of the prism are the bases. You can see to the right here we have the triangular prism where it has triangular bases, a rectangular prism has rectangular bases, and a pentagonal prism has pentagon for bases. A pyramid is a solid with one base. All of the other faces are triangles. Both prisms and pyramids can be named by the shape of their bases. So to the right there, you can see a triangular pyramid has a triangle for the base, rectangular pyramid has a rectangle for the base, and a pentagonal pyramid has a pentagon for the base. In our example here, it asks us to classify the solid. If it is a polyhedron, tell how many vertices, edges, and faces it has. The solid is made up of flat surfaces, so it is a polyhedron. It has two bases, so it is a prism. In this case, the bases are on the left and the right ends. It's sitting on one of its sides. The bases are rectangles, so it's a rectangular prism. There are 8 vertices, 12 edges, and 6 faces. So the figure is a rectangular prism with 8 vertices, so it has 8 points where the edges come together, 12 edges, which are the lines where the faces come together, and 6 faces or sides. In the triad here, they want us to complete the table to classify each solid. If it is a polyhedron, tell how many vertices, edges, and faces it has. So if we look at our first shape here, we have the number of bases is the first thing it's asking us. So in this case, we have 1 base. The shape of the base, in this case, it's a triangle because it's sitting on the triangle there. Which makes it a triangular pyramid because it only has 1 base, so it has to be a pyramid, and we name pyramids through their bases. So, triangular pyramid. The number of vertices is the next thing it wants us to find. So in this case, we're going to find the points or the edges come together. And in this case, there are 4. And you can see the 4 vertices there marked with the 4 blue points. Then it asks us to find the number of edges. And in this case, we have 6. And I'm going to mark them with a little dash across each edge. Okay, the dotted line is showing the edge of the back face on the bottom there. Then it asks us how many faces. In this case, we have a triangular pyramid. So in this case, we have 1 face is the base, and then we have 3 faces along the sides. We have 4 faces altogether. All right, the second shape here does not have any bases, so we're going to write none. Then, because it doesn't have any bases, we can't fill in the shape of the base, so we're going to write NA for not applicable. It doesn't apply to this shape. And we know that a 3-dimensional round object is called a sphere. And because it doesn't have any bases or sides or anything like that, it doesn't have any vertices, edges, or faces. So we're going to write NA in all of those. right, our last shape here, if we look at it, we have two sides that are parallel and congruent, so we have two bases. Then we look and we count up the sides on the base face so we can figure out what shape it is, and in this case it has 5 sides, so it's a pentagon. And then, since we have two bases, that makes it a prism, and since the base is a pentagon, it becomes a pentagonal prism. For the number of vertices, we're going to count each of the points where the edges come together. In this case, we have 10. 5 on the bottom, 5 on the top. All right, then we're going to count the number of edges it has. And we know we have 5 edges on the top, 5 on the bottom, and then if you look, you can count 5 on each side, so it's 15. And then finally, the number of faces, we have the 2 bases and the 5 sides, so it becomes 7. All right, so please make sure you have copied down all of this information and glue the worksheet in your math notebook.